All right, guys, my bad. A little bit late. I'm like a minute late. I just looked at the clock. All right, but I'm here. Market is up a little bit today. Honestly, looks good. Yeah, there was like an Amazon web thing that kind of like took stuff out this morning. A lot of different platforms were down. Nasdaq over 25,000. Yields are back over 4%. But good morning. Hope you guys are doing good today. Gold sitting at 42.72s. Not quite at the highs it was at Friday. But again, you can kind of see what happened here. Like, here's Amazon on the top. So let me see if I can cover some of this news for Amazon. Like, basically what happened is that Amazon's AWS says there was a DNS issue. It took down a lot of platforms, but they said as of 6:40 market time that the underlying DNS issue has been fully mitigated and most AWS service operations are succeeding normally now. They also updated us before that. They said we continue to observe recovery across most of the affected AWS services. We can confirm global services and features that rely on US East have also recovered. Yeah, what's up, chat? What's up, Ava, Lee, Han, Brad, Marco, Mark. We got Marco, Mark, Kato, DA, Special, Brian, Kelly, Tony, another Ava, Toshi, Hey, R. What's up, guys? Good morning. What's up, Northwest? All right, so, and again, you can kind of see Amazon stock this morning. Look at this drop right here. This drop was from the AWS issues. You know, started early this morning, kind of dragged the market down a little bit. If you look at this, you know, I don't know if this was from that or something else, but it did kind of drag the market down. So for today, you know, China left its benchmark lending rate unchanged for the 5th month in a row ahead of its big policy meeting. Oil, if we take a look at it, Nvidia is slightly green. It's at 184s. If we take a look at oil's still down to like $56 a barrel. The Nikkei jumped 2.8% on pro-stimulus political development, and China's growth beat expectations at 4.8% Q3 GDP year over year. Again, U.S. futures up modestly. It's an earnings week. We have Netflix earnings. We have Tesla earnings this week. And so I think people are a little optimistic about that. Markets are a little higher. You know, markets are going to look at see how resilient everything is despite all the, you know, macro headwinds we got going on. There's also a planned U.S.-China meeting this week between Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, and China's Vice Premier. This has kind of made people a little bit more optimistic as well. Government shutdown still here. We are on day 20 of this government shutdown. If you take a look at the odds for the shutdown ending here, let's see. 66% of people think it'll last over 35 days. The forecast is at this point in time 44 days of government shutdown. 44 days of government shutdown. Yeah, gold. I mean, I want to say I'm bullish on gold. I think it's easier to be bullish on gold right now, but I mean, we could certainly come back down. It doesn't mean we're not going to, but it's close to all-time highs, and it's been pushing up and having very little red days here. So here's the highs it put in on Friday, dipped down. Now it's kind of rebounding a little bit. It doesn't mean it's going to continue back up, but I would prefer to be bullish than bearish on gold for sure, just because of how it's behaved over the last while. You know, I think it just makes more sense to be. Here, sorry, I gotta change this title. Let me get this out of the way. All right, 8,500, I don't know. Yeah, if we take a look at crypto here, Bitcoin back up to 111s, which is great news. Hit hundreds last week, so back up to over 110 right now. And crypto is a great bounce, something that it needed. If we take a look at yields this morning, they're still sitting pretty tight at 4%. If we look at the net effect this morning, they are up a little bit, a little elevated now. 4.011% is technically what yields are at. If we take a look at the Fed Watch tool, it is at 99% chance of a rate cut. 99% chance of a rate cut. And remember, this week we do have CPI, inflation data, Tesla earnings, Netflix earnings. So we got some stuff going on with this. I appreciate the €5 donation, Satoshi. Tell me you will be bullish on gold. Nobody's bearish on gold. You know, if anything, if you guys remember when gold was at like 3,300, I liked gold. Like, I might have been bearish on gold when it was at 2,000, but that was after a big run up. I haven't really been bearish on gold since then. You know, like, if anything, I was pretty outspoken as soon as, like, a month ago, whenever gold was edging towards 4,000. I told people gold wants 4,000, and it's probably gonna hit it. It's still up though, but yeah, I haven't been bearish on gold since gold was at like 2K. I appreciate the donation though. Is there a date for the rate cut? So the rate cut is probably coming on October 29th, I believe, is when the Fed meeting is. Let me make sure. It should be next Wednesday. October 29th, next Wednesday. You know, this Friday we got CPI inflation data. Next Wednesday we got the FOMC decision. Gold will continue to need consolidation. Yeah, I mean, I like I said, that's why I'm more bullish on gold. It's just really strong. It's been really strong, and so I'm gonna keep looking at it like it's really strong. But it could always pull back. I'm not saying it doesn't, but I think it makes more sense, as I said this morning, to be more bullish than bearish on gold. Well, 24,000 is just kind of a wild number. I don't think gold's gonna hit 24K next year. And I think it would honestly be kind of bad if it did. You know, that's too much increases. You know, too much of anything could be bad. All right, guys. Stellantis also has some news that CEO is going to meet Italian labor unions and weak demand production pauses at several Fiat and Alfa Romeo plants. Let's see what other news is going on this morning in markets. We're back up to this 200 exponential level. I don't know whether I want to short this or not. Apple iPhone 17 launch outpaces predecessor. Apple's iPhone 17 beat iPhone 16 sales by 14% in its first 10 days in the US and China. According to Counterpoint Research, the base model drove the growth, with sales nearly doubling overseas in China. The iPhone 17 Pro Max led US demand. Also, Loop Capital upgraded Apple to a buy rating from a hold rating. Price target is 315 from price target previously of 226. Where's Apple at this morning? Yeah, Apple's up on this news. Look at this. Apple's popping up. Yeah, but Bitcoin's a different asset, I think. I like gold. I think gold's going up. I was optimistic on 4,000 in gold, and now I'm optimistic on 5,000 for gold. Do I think it's going to hit 24,000 though? No. Not this year or next year, I think. Maybe after that. Yeah, Amazon Web Services was down for a bunch of different platforms this morning. They got it resolved. That's what a lot of these drops, if you look at Amazon here. See, Amazon turned from 215 all the way down to under 212s. This is the drop from the AWS services being down earlier this morning. Yeah, we got some tech earnings this week. Next week's the big one, but we got Tesla and Netflix this week. So we got some stuff. All right, so the EU Council approves new strategic European Union-India agenda aiming to deepen ties in trade, technology, security, and global governance, emphasizing a free trade pact, defense collaboration, sustainable development, and commitment to a rules-based international order. We'll see what happens. Let me do a poll. I don't think I've done one yet. Does the NASDAQ hold over 25K today? That's going to be the poll. Does the NASDAQ hold over 25,000 today? Do we have regional banks this morning? Let me see. Yeah, I mean, we got a couple small ones, but not really. We got HBT Financial. They're out already. Dynex Capital, a couple other small ones, but Cleveland Cliffs. How's the knee? The knee's okay. I mean, I'm walking with shoes now. I took off the boot. They had me in a big boot for my foot, but I just bought some like really thick like plastic insoles that support the arch of my foot. And now I can walk in shoes. I can't really walk normally. They still have my brace locked at 60%. But I can walk, at least. I don't have to, you know. I'm supposed to get the brace off. Yeah, look at Robinhood this morning. Robinhood is up. Bitcoin is up big. Robinhood at 134. So NASDAQ's still rejecting here. This makes me a little bit more short biased. I might take a trade right now. I'm going to take a trade on a, like... Alright, I'm going to short this bounce that we're getting right here. Okay. I just accidentally shorted the regular NASDAQ in this account. And I called it, luckily. We made $50 from that just now, but I didn't mean to. I meant to switch to micros. Accidentally traded regular mini contracts. Still a little early for it. I'll still short it if I can catch a bounce, but I kind of missed it at this point in time. I'm a little frustrated. Like, I need a little bounce now up to 75 right here. I might not get it. I hope I do, though. Let's see. I'll take one right here. I guess we're already up $50 in the trade. There we go. What was I just looking at? Was that gold? Chart was I just looking at? Oh. Okay. Alright, I'll just hold this. I'd like to get 50 down there. We have just 2 contracts. Yeah, I mean, this time it worked out for me. But it's still too early to take a mini contract, to be honest. Just too early. You know? Now we got a cushion on the trade, though, which is good. Why does it look like this? What did I have up prior to this here? It looks different. Is this just the difference between the NQ and the regular? I'm just too zoomed in here. I thought there was another rejection somewhere around here. What was I just looking at? Hold on, let me look. Yeah, I guess this is just the micro NASDAQ looking a little different. I want to give it time to break down here. Yeah, when does Salesforce release earnings? I guess next week, right? Hey, thank you, Lee. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you, sir. Yeah, I mean, we caught the original breakdown in the regular NQ. This one's just a little different. But I want to give it time. We originally shorted up here. And then by the time I switched to micro, it's a little bit too late. But that's all right. I don't really like this candle, so any big upward movement, I'm going to cut it. A little bit better. Almost behaving like it's in a... Alright, there we go. We're back green. I hope the song's right. It goes down. Alright, let's see if the NASDAQ can keep falling here. I'm gonna take a little bit off, probably. Just not really holding down or moving. We'll liquidate half of this. How long this takes. It's just taking too long, honestly. Weird, it almost looks like it's a 5-minute chart, but... Last week was honestly a really good week if you want to look at my stats here. I'll probably just sit in this and try to let it come back down. If it starts to push up too much, I'll get out. Yeah, so here's the month so far. You can kind of see we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 green days. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red days. The profit chart looks more. There we go. We're getting a breakdown now. Been kind of back and forth, but we've been net green. Last week's chart looked like this. Yeah, see, the market's not really going anywhere, though. Nasdaq's sideways. But yeah, last week looked like this, mostly. We traded another account, too. Let's find that. The other account we traded looked like this last week. And then this was the actual like green and red days last week. I don't know if we traded this account. We did. Yeah, and then the third funded account, which is the only 3 I have activated. I have 2 on standby. They looked like this last week. That's the that graph, and then the actual daily P&L graph like that. So it was a green week for basically everything. And then we also got funded on 2 different. We passed 2 different combines, and so we'll have 5 funded accounts now, which is good. Yeah, we got CPI this week. It's Friday. Yeah, so we had a good week. It was pretty easy for me to make money. This trade's kind of taking too long. I don't want to give back that whole $50. I'm going to cut it. Still very green on the day, but we'll kind of reconsider this one. It's not really doing anything. Anytime it kind of stays stuck in the middle where it's going like this, I don't really want to get stuck in that. I think it might still come back down too. It's just not worth, it's 1 micro. It's early. I want to sit on the green trades that I've made and not stress about it. Yeah, so Friday is when CPI inflation data, October 24th specifically. Okay, so this is a platform issue apparently right now. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. It looked weird to me. Yeah, so it's a platform issue. So apparently they're not making new candles when the minute candle rolls over. Okay, that makes perfect sense. Because when I look at the NASDAQ, it looks different, right? And the original reason I got into the trade was here on the NASDAQ. I wanted to short the 200 exponential. The NASDAQ looks good. I think the micro is down. Let me switch back to see if they pop up on the micro. Yeah, the micro looks different. Okay. So the way I'd have to do it is I could take a micro trade, but that's what's going on. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. It makes a lot more sense. I was wondering what was going on because I was like, man, is the micro and the regular NASDAQ really looking that different today? What's strange though is it's not just like this. It's kind of like this on it's kind of like this on TOS too. So I don't think it's just a top step issue. I think it's a full AWS issue is what I think it sounds like. Yeah, the no news is kind of bothering me. I mean, honestly, my channel has grown enough to where even if we don't have any real news, we still get about at least 1,000 simultaneous viewers. But the big streams, we always got 3,000-4,000, and that'll come back once the government resumes. At this point in time, I've accepted it. I know people are still going to tune in once we resume anyway, because people just know my channel for economic reports. See, I should have held it, but the candles were weirding me out. Yeah, AMD's up to 237s today, close to 233s. No, I just trade with them individually. Just because, like, For me, it's about diversification, really. Like with accounts, like I would rather not lose all accounts at the same time if I lose one, which happens. Yeah, I could have held this. Again, the candles are a little weird. I told you guys I thought it might still break down, but it was just kind of weirding me out. Cautious but optimistic. Yeah, I think that's what we're in right now. Again, like essentially, markets are getting excited about the earnings. We got Besant and the Chinese vice premier meeting this week, or talking this week. People are optimistic about some eased tensions regarding U.S. and China, as well as we got Tesla and Netflix earnings this week and some other ones too. So like, people are optimistic about those things going on. Markets are cautiously higher, I would describe them as. NASDAQ still over 25,000. We did a poll this morning asking if the NASDAQ would hold over 25K. 73% said yes. Gold is getting closer to 4,300s. It's a little sideways today, but still up big when you zoom out. So yeah, that makes more sense. I forgot to go to live chat, so if you're talking and I'm not responding, my bad. Discord. Yeah. Also, China halted U.S. soybean imports in September, which is a first in 2025. Again, what I'm seeing right now also in stocks, again, Amazon is mostly flat. It was green on the day, but the AWS news came out and then it turned. Nvidia just went red on the day. So Nvidia just broke under the previous closing price. It's now technically red on the day. This is driving the NASDAQ down. Well, Besant speaking to us doesn't mean much, Lee, right? But when he's speaking to the China vice premier, that's a different thing. I think what the market wants is eased U.S.-China relations right now, and I think the more we get easing in that context, the better it's going to be for markets. And so I think that's something that's going on. It's just Besant's supposed to speak with the Chinese vice premier. You know, Besant's pretty predictable. If he's speaking to us, we know what he's going to say, right? He's going to say, economy is weak. We need to cut rates aggressively, you know. That's essentially what he's going to say, right? Because they want rate cuts, and I get it. I'm not really against that thesis of wanting rate cuts. I think we do kind of need rate cuts. I think even the Fed knows we might need to start cutting rates just based off of the weak labor data we've seen over months now. Revisions to older data and the new data coming out has been pretty weak. And so I think most people agree it's time to ease a little bit. Now, should we do QE? Probably not, but it doesn't mean we're not going to. I think it's looking more and more likely that we might start doing QE earlier than a lot of people expected, and earlier than I wanted specifically. And so I'm for cutting rates. I don't necessarily think we should print, but you know, that's how it goes. Nvidia breaking down. It's at 183s right now. Yeah, I should have held my short, but again, it's look at the regular NASDAQ to gauge what's really going on here, to be honest. Okay. Which is a rejection at the 200 exponential. So this whole trade idea was just kind of like a mini head and shoulders at the 200 exponential, which I like to target. Like here's the shoulder, head, shoulder, breakdown, right? And I think a lot of people see this little mini pattern and attack it on a shorter perspective. Lockheed Martin, big one for me, playing both sides. Yeah, hey, good luck. My investments have been pretty good, dude. Like, remember, I bought Home Depot. That was the last big stock I bought was Home Depot. And I bought it when it was at 380s. like 380 even. It's at 392 right now for Home Depot, 392. So we got in pretty cheap. It hit 395s earlier. And we've already liquidated half or more, I think, of that position too. Just gonna lock it in. Yeah, I think this account is up at least, I have to go back and look, but I think it's up at least 10 to 20% just from my swing trades this year. Yeah, I thought I'd change this. Did I miss those? Gold still edging towards highs of the day. I'm trying to look to see exactly where the highs of the day for gold are. I think they're at 42.90. So gold getting closer to that high of the day level up here. I think 42.90 is the high, if I'm not mistaken here. Estee Lauder, what is that? Makeup? Again, I really don't know EL company very much. Yeah, they are makeup. Okay. I don't know, man. I think like one of the dynamics that we're seeing, and again, this thing is on a long-term downtrend. This thing's been dropping since 2022 for Estee Lauder, if we look at it, right? One of the things that I think we're seeing in makeup is we're seeing influencers start to develop their own brands and have the marketing weight to promote them successfully, right? So old school makeup manufacturers, they might still do well, but some of their market share is getting eaten by influencers, in my opinion, in that context. You see it with like Kylie Jenner and all these different influencers and famous people. Still, they're pretty cheap relative to where they could have been. They were at $370 in 2021 and 2022. They're all the way down at $100 a share. They were at $50 earlier in the year. So maybe it's a discount buy. I'm not sure. I'm not necessarily against EL here. I think it could be time for a bounce, but I really don't know for sure. Good luck if you take it. Not an investment professional, not liable if you lose money. Always make your own assessment. Trade smart. I can't guarantee anything. Yeah, USAR pulled all the way back from $45 all the way down to 27s. The mineral companies dipping a little bit. Gonna say China won't command controllers. China says sorry, no more rare earths. Best it says. Yeah, I mean, we got earnings coming out, but none are huge right now. Goldman banker Michael Marsh is going to retire. Moody's rating downgrades China's Vanke's ratings to CAA2 to CAA3. Outlook remains negative. Most of the earnings are already out. And again, we post an earnings recap every day to our X page. But none of the earnings are big today. We got Cleveland Cliffs, that's it. They posted a loss of 45 cents. They expected a 48-cent loss. Revenue of 4.73. They expected 4.91. So they missed revenue, BDPS. Still negative, losing margins, though. Nothing else is really big in the earnings sector today. Not really. The Perplexity CEO says the company and Common are back up and running and stable for the last 2 hours. Oh, my bad. Let me move this. Yeah, NASDAQ all the way back up here. We did get that dip I was looking for, but... Yeah, Tuesday, tomorrow's huge, right? So tomorrow we have more earnings. And then this evening we've got like Zion Bank. That's a big one this morning. So this evening we got some regional bank stuff to watch. ELs and department stores, they're struggling. Yeah. I don't know. ZION is up. It's still down net from the last few weeks, but again, Amazon down, Apple up, Nvidia red. NASDAQ starting to rebound back up here. Total U.S. debt reached a record 98.8 trillion, basically 99 trillion in quarter 225, equal to 324% of GDP. Yeah. I'm just gonna wait pawn. We are starting to see a resurge in the NASDAQ back up to 2586. And federal government debt rose to 35.6 trillion in quarter two. Most recent data shows it reached 37.5 or 123% of GDP. Non-financial corporate debt hit 22 trillion roughly, representing 72%. Michael Burry, large position in Estee Lauder. What's his logic for it? Yeah, so micro NASDAQ chart is broken right now. But the regular NQ chart works. Micro. We had CATL earnings come out. CATL. But I don't think we can look at it here. AMD again up to 237s right now. 237s. Almost 8 o'clock. Gold's still edging towards the highs, but slow it down a little bit. Yeah, a lot of platforms are down right now, guys. Again, this has to do with Amazon Web Services, AWS. Yeah, I need to make it so that my computer doesn't... All right, let's disable Windows updates. Yeah, so in downturns of the economy, apparently cosmetic companies demonstrate resilience. Been more nuanced lately, though, they're saying. There's something called the lipstick effect, is a theory that when consumers face economic crisis, They cut back on expensive big ticket items like vacations and cars, but still treat themselves to small affordable luxuries like lipstick. And so people are optimistic on lipstick and makeup companies because of that dynamic. And that might be true. Windows update. There it is. Properties. Disabled. All right, cool. I just disabled Windows updates. Stopped this right now. You shall not pass Windows update. Somehow they'll probably, I don't know. All right. Yeah, CPI is still coming out Friday. CPI was originally slated for last Wednesday. It didn't come out, neither did PPI or anything like that, and then they pushed everything back until the government resumes, although they did bring back some of the furloughed workers to specifically compile CPI. They need CPI for Social Security benefit updates, so they did bring back the compilers. It is now slated for this Friday, the 24th. Yeah. I have to check my activity log now. I'm pretty sure I'm good, but... yeah, I gotta go to Event Viewer. Windows Logs. System. So we should be good, honestly. It's not really doing anything weird. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just a freaking stupid update they forced me to do. All right, guys, NASDAQ's coming back down. Look at gold, guys. Wow, look at gold right now. Gold hitting $4,300 pretty soon, it looks like. Is there a reason for gold popping up here? Barclays lifts China 2025 GDP growth forecast to 4.8%. Look at gold, though, guys. Gold's very close to 2,300 right now. 4,300, I mean. SOFR rate 4.18% for the 17th on Friday. Again, Barclays lifted China 25 GDP growth forecast to 4.8 from 4.5%. Wow. Carol buying plants. She buys plants despite what the economy's doing. Economy's good, she buys plants. Economy's bad, she buys plants. They don't ever make it, you know. But still. Not a good indicator. She's going to buy them regardless. All right, guys, so gold got very close to 4,300. Yeah, again, we've got some interesting movement here. Micron exec Sedana forecasts that the DRAM market will remain extremely tight with supply-demand imbalances intensifying through 2026 according to Digit Times. I don't know if that's affecting things. Michael Saylor buying 168 Bitcoin worth 18.6 million. Is it time to buy the dip in gold? What about micro gold? Is micro gold down? No. Okay. Yeah, it's past 8 a.m. now. The 8 a.m. All right, so look, I just bought the dip in gold here. I'll show you the trade right now. We're up really nicely from it. We bought it close to the bottom. I just want to see if this keeps pushing up. I think it might want 4,300s. I could also add to it if I want, but I want to see if this tries to get 4,300s. I already took one off, so I could probably cut it break even if I really wanted to. All right, AbbVie safety profile for up whatever it was consistent with previous studies. I don't even try to pronounce the biotech. Go. Let's see if it makes another push. I think 4,300 is so close. That's why I'm buying it. I'm just optimistic about 4,300. Like I said, I might cover it break even if it breaks down big. I want to bounce though, obviously. Gold is just kind of sideways right now, though. Look at it. I'm going to cut this and just lock in profit. I don't want to risk too much. Go back to the NASDAQ here. Micro NASDAQ still down, it looks like. Here's the regular NQ. Yeah, the market's not really moving much. The AWS thing is kind of affecting everything. I mean, we're kind of rangy. Definitely a range, but look at the NASDAQ here, just not really doing anything. They're popping back up. So I did jump right back in it in gold. We ended up taking one off here, and now we're just sitting on the rest. Definitely a little volatile here, though. I'm going to cut it right there. Still green on the trade, but Go back to the NASDAQ. Yeah, no, I saw I mean, it's probably because of the China GDP update. Just bought the dip in gold again. I'm just scalping this while we can. I'll trade a bit green. Cut it up there if I can. All right. MicroStrategy again bought 168 Bitcoin between the 13th and the 19th. What's up, Sam? Yeah, that might be what's going on, Chef's Pawn. I did see some of that, but gold's pretty close to 4,300. I think I might want to retest that. Everything else is just very slow. I mean, if you zoom out on the NASDAQ here, we're kind of slowing down. We're still green, you know, like if you look at the longer term trend here, you know, we got like a little upward trend going on, but we'll have to wait and see what, you know, as we get closer to the more liquid parts of the day, what those look like. Looking at our poll numbers, we asked people, does the NASDAQ hold over 25,000 today? 69% say yes, 31% say no. Again, odds are now for 41.3 days for a government shutdown. I don't know why they decreased some. New odds for a shutdown are 40.5 days actually, as of 8 a.m. this morning. Wonder what makes those change. Looking at some of the comments on the government shutdown votes, somebody said, and again, I'm not saying this is true, NASDAQ pushing back up though, NASDAQ over 25,000. Let's watch 25,001, or 25,100, I mean, which is right here. I think that's an interesting level. Whole dollar number, confirmed resistance at that level a couple different times this morning. And so I think that makes sense to pay attention to on a shorter basis. But yeah, I see somebody said no more than 25 days. It appears that they aren't close at all, and then a deal will get done. That'll happen by Wednesday for day 21. Tomorrow's day 21 though. I hope it does. Bring back the data. But I'm not the most optimistic person that it does. NASDAQ fighting his way back up here. Again, if we look at NVIDIA, NVIDIA's climbing higher. I think Apple's up a lot today on upgrade news and iPhone sales news. Yeah, look at Apple. AMD's up. So again, the mood this morning in markets is mostly calm. Mostly calm. And again, I think same as always would make sense if we were trying to avoid a government shutdown. A lot of the time leading into these, they're like, oh no, we're not going to get a deal done in time. And then boom, they get a deal done and the government doesn't get shut down. Now the government's actually shut down. And so that peak has kind of leveled a little bit. And so now the government is shut down. It's not looking the most optimistic. But maybe anything could happen. We'll see. I mean, I could do a poll here on the government shutdown. Would you guys like a poll for this? Let me know in chat right now. I'll do one if you guys want. Citigroup says we're not in an AI bubble yet. Citi says AI stocks remain expensive but not in bubble territory. Its valuation model shows only a few red flags, mainly U.S. asset-heavy names and international adopters. The bank recommends staying invested but taking profits in overheated areas, favoring AI at a reasonable price strategy. Citi also stressed the asset light versus asset heavy distinction as the sector broad strong earnings and rising capex keep the AI outlook solid for now, according to Citi. All right, there's gold hitting $4,300 an ounce, right at 4,300s here. There's 4,300s right there, so it's at that level. Yeah, so again, the core disagreement for the shutdown is extending ACA tax credits. It's created an impasse that Congress has been unable to resolve. I can't talk. Coinbase announces the AWS issue has been resolved and users should no longer experience weak performance. Let me reset mine and look at the micro NASDAQ here. Look at the Q. Yeah, I think MNQ is still doing it all in one candle. Pretty choppy markets, though. Yeah, but the Senate has repeatedly failed to advance the House passed Repub funding bill, most recently for the 10th time. Last Thursday shows no progress in breaking the filibuster needed to move the legislation forward. They adjourned for the weekend after Thursday's votes. They're not expected to return until today. AI gets days wrong. Today is October 20th, Monday. Yeah, so as of October 17th, the U.S. Judicial Branch announced that its temporary funding reserves ran out. Starting today, federal courts will operate on limited operations necessary to perform constitutional functions. Also, federal civilian workers are now expected to miss their first full paycheck on October 24th. The House of Reps is not scheduled to return to session this week. Mike Johnson maintains that the House did its job by passing a funding bill and will not return until the Senate passes it. But the Senate is expected to resume voting on various funding measures this week. This is now the third longest shutdown in U.S. history. Yeah, I could have held, but I'm not. Again, I could have held gold to 4,300. I was looking for 4,300, and this is why. It's a big whole dollar number, which you guys know I love. And look at 4,300. It acted as the top on this recent move. Doesn't mean it's not going to push up, but like we got close enough to 4,300. I'm green on the day. I'll take it. Green is good. We've had a bunch of green trades. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really picking sides, Jelly. I think the right at this point in time wants to just end the shutdown, right? The left is trying to throw in ACA stuff, and so like, whose side that is, you could argue it doesn't matter. Personally, I just want the shutdown to end, and so that's my bias. And my bias is again because we cover a lot of this economic data, so. All right, guys, we got 12 minutes until 8:30. I'm pretty sure we don't have any 8:30 data today. We got U.S. leading indicators. We got Chris Waller giving remarks at 9 a.m. tomorrow. No jobless claims. We do have CPI at the end of this week, along with consumer sentiment from Michigan and more. So we got some stuff Friday this week. Friday's big. At the very least, we'll get CPI data Friday. And then next week, we got durable goods. We got FOMC decision. We're supposed to get GDP, but we're not getting that. We're also supposed to get PCE, but we're not getting that either. But next week, at least, we'll have the FOMC meeting. So we got stuff to cover. It's just less than we normally would. I don't know. I was on Friday on Top Step, John. JP Morgan now expects CBRT to cut 1 week repo rates by 100 basis points on Thursday. Yeah, gold ripping over 4,300s. Look at this pop. Wow, 43.10s for gold. Yeah, let's see if this all continues. I was in the gold trade, but scalped it. Yeah, I mean, it's easy to look in hindsight, though. I mean, gold, whole dollar number, 4,300s. Gold up to 43.10, still pushing. NASDAQ very sideways this morning. Again, a lot of platforms have been down today. AWS had an issue. If you look at Amazon, AWS was down for a lot of platforms. Some of them are still running into issues. Again, spot gold up 1% on the day to 43, roughly. Yeah, I've never been a big fan of us talking about LSU Curtis. I just never been a big fan of his, man. He doesn't have the legs. You know, he can't run. He's one-dimensional, in my opinion. He can throw it really well most of the time, but they know that, and so when he gets blitzed or, you know, he just struggles. He can't really throw outside the pocket. You know, we won. We did okay. He's not bad. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's not good. What I'm saying is that he's not my favorite type of quarterback. He's not like Burrow or Jaden, where they can scramble really well, throw outside the pocket, you know, stubborn with letting the play go. And he's just not like that, unfortunately. Yeah, Nasdaq's starting to push up as well. Gold's still trying to go higher also. Obviously, I wasn't happy about the Vanderbilt game, but I'm an LSU fan. I'm kind of used to it. Saints, I don't even want to talk about the Saints this year, you know. No, I didn't see those, Frost. Yeah, silver, another thing to talk about. If you look at silver, man, silver over 50 still. Gold's still pushing up. Here's silver. 51.15 for SIL. Again, guys, we got about 6 minutes until 8:30. See if markets move at 8:30. I don't think we have any data today, but we'll look. At the very least, we got some earnings stuff going on this week. And we do have CPI data dropping at 8:30. CPI this week is expected at core 3.1% year over year, 0.3% month over month, 3.1% year over year for headline, and 0.4% month over month. Seems a little elevated for inflation, no? A little high. Both of them over 3% year over year. Look at gold, guys. Silver still pushing up. Gold up to 43.15s now, still edging higher here. Again, the Swiss government announces they've oh, that's not really relevant. Again, gold pushing up again today. All right, we are seeing a little dip in silver. Here's the Nasdaq here. Nasdaq's getting a little higher. I'm still watching 25-100s. Do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button here on the stream. We appreciate it. Should I do a government shutdown poll? I'm going to go ahead and do one. When does the government shutdown end? This week? Next week? We'll do next month? I don't know. Comment. Or how about we'll say December? I think it's got to end before that. All right, vote in the poll. Let me know what you guys think. Yeah, gold and silver dipping down a little bit. Beyond Meat, not my favorite company, of course. If you guys know me, I've never been a big fan of Beyond Meat. I don't really think they have the consumer base they need to succeed as a company. I just don't. You know? It's one of those companies that probably shouldn't be public. It's not big enough. Doesn't offer enough stuff. Not a big fan. All right, so Goldman Sachs sees 0.3% September rise. They expect both headline and core CPI to rise 0.3% month over month in September, keeping core inflation at 3.1%, which is what's expected. Cooling car prices, lower airfare, and easing labor and housing pressures, they think, should offset tariff-driven gains in categories like communications and furnishing. Core CPI, core inflation seen ending 25 at 3.1%. Yeah, that's what they have the expectations now is 3.1% for both headline and core CPI. It drops Friday. All right, 29% think next month. But the most leading category is next month in November at 29%. Markets are up slightly today, but it's kind of boring. Yeah, it's such a niche consumer base. That's the problem. And they just don't have enough people that are interested in it. Now, I'm not saying they're going to do poorly, but I've never been a big fan of these type of companies like Impossible and Beyond Meat. I don't think they should be public companies personally. I just don't think they have enough interest generally. You know, they used to be much higher, and I was pretty critical of them when they were much higher. They used to be, you know, back in the day, these were 230, 240 a share for BYND. I'm just not a fan. Technically, their meat could replace all meat or be another option at any primarily meat restaurants. Yeah, I mean, I could go outside and win the lottery 12 days in a row, you know, and be a billionaire. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, though. And I don't think it's likely to happen. I don't think it's probable to happen, you know. I don't think it's... I think there's a very, very, very low chance Beyond Meat replaces meat in stores. I just think it's super low, you know. All right, guys, market's pretty flat. Gold's been ripping up this morning, of course. All right, so here's 8:30. Okay, we don't have any data. We got a U.S. leading indicator at 10 a.m. All right, guys. There's 8:30. All right, 8:30's here. Market's not really moving. We might have like the 8:30 scrum. Nasdaq's pushing up a little bit. Again, no jobless claims this week. Not unless the government shuts down. We got Waller speaking tomorrow on Tuesday, 9 a.m. We'll cover that. Canadian CPI drops tomorrow at 8:30. We'll cover that too. But our CPI drops Friday. All right, so here's a push on the NASDAQ. Again, I'm watching 25.1. Gold making another push of highs of the day. What's the high, all-time high? 43.92, under 44, okay. Yeah, so we still got a little time. NASDAQ's up here to 95s. Silver's trying to make another push. Again, Cleveland Cliffs up today. CLF is up to almost $15 a share. Nvidia's down. Amazon is down after AWS issues this morning affecting a lot of stuff. I would say the mood is mostly optimistic, though. I think it's cautious but optimistic today. I think people are optimistic. Besant's speaking with the Chinese vice premier, regarding U.S.-China relations this week. I think that's good. People are optimistic there. We'll see if that optimism holds. All right, guys. Nasdaq's trying to climb up. Nvidia's trying to go green on the day too. Look at Nvidia. Just tap that previous closing price level. So this might drive indices higher. Here's gold. Silver. See what the Nasdaq does here. Gold testing highs of the day. Look at this. 43.17 is the high of the day. Gold is up to 43.1650. Silver high of the day is 51.25s. Dude, I haven't eaten Burger King. I don't eat McDonald's anymore. But I haven't eaten Burger King. It's been genuinely 3-4 years at least since I've eaten Burger King. Honestly, I'm surprised Burger King's still around. Does it have a big audience? A big consumer base? I don't know, man. Alright, gold just broke highs of the day again, up to 43.20s. There's the Nasdaq push for 25.1. All right, looking at our poll, when does the shutdown end? 33% think next month. Yeah, Wendy's as well. Wendy's has got those good baked potatoes, though. I'm more friendly towards Wendy's. Burger King, I've just never been a big fan. Like, if they had really good burgers, it would be different. We had Canadian PPI show up. Canadian PPI showed up at 1.7% for month-over-month RMPI. Year-over-year Canadian PPI showed up at 5.5%. Month-over-month showed up at 0.8%. Forecast 0.15%. So way over-expected for month-over-month Canadian PPI here. Still not big, but it's something. Culver's is good. I like Culver's. I like Five Guys as well. All right, we're still trying to get over 25.1s here on the Nasdaq. We're climbing higher. It's not really an interesting place for me to short, though, I think. All right, there goes gold again, up to 43.25. So gold is edging higher this morning. Five Guys is expensive. Yeah, AWS took out a lot of people's internet. Nasdaq's still edging higher here though. So is gold, obviously. Gold just hit 43.30 or so. Silver's pushing up to test highs of the day as well here. A lot of momentum in gold and silver right now. Nasdaq edging higher too. Look at gold. Gold up to 31s. 43.31s. As long as it's not my knee, JG, I'm okay. You know? I can kind of walk right now, though, which is good. Supposed to get this brace unlocked on Wednesday. We'll see what that looks like. Silver flying up right now. Silver looks pretty good. I mean, it's not like gold, but it's close enough, you know. Precious metal, it's moving up. All right, so Cleveland Cliffs dropped earnings this morning. They said a significant rebound in domestic steel demand has started and being led by the auto sector. CLF agreed on a 2 to 3 year agreements with all major automotive OEMs, covering higher sales volumes and favorable pricing through 27 and 28, according to Newswires. Again, market's mostly flat this morning, though. We're not really doing that much here. I'm going to cover Tesla and Netflix earnings this week. I don't know what we're going to get, but I'm going to cover those. All right, guys. What do we get right now, man? I'm waiting for stuff, but a little slow today. You guys had red or green weeks last week or this week? I'm green on basically everything. I'm green today. I was green last week on every account that we have. Last week we had some volatility, though. I think I do better. You know, I've been distinguishing the way I trade between two types of market movement. One is momentum and the other one is range. And so if we got a rangy day, I attack the range. If we've got a momentum heavy day, I attack momentum. And that's kind of what I've done the last few days. NASDAQ getting very close to this 25,100 area. Red, green, Friday pretty red last week. A lot of people were red last week. All right, guys, NASDAQ just broke over 25 ones, got retraced right back down quickly, but over 25 ones. Again, silver just broke highs of the day. Gold just broke highs of the day. All-time highs in gold, guys, again, are $43.92. We're getting pretty close to that. We're about $50 away from that right now. Maybe a little bit more, but still, we're pretty close to gold all-time highs this morning. Hey, love it, love it. New shoes? Oh, you're just ready this morning. All right, I love you. Good day. Yeah. Yeah. What? Your shirt? Yeah. My daughter wants to show y'all her shirt. It says best friends on it. If anybody's ever seen, what is it? Diary of a Wimpy Kid. It's got those two kids. It says best friends on it. Love it. Love it. You know? No. Alright. Love you. There you go. Greatest shirt ever. Top 3 greatest shirts of all time. Alright, so Colombia, again, is recalling U.S. ambassador, according to the foreign ministry. Alright, NASDAQ, again, over 25 ones. Over 25 ones. Yeah, I don't know what the cool word is. You know, and if I try to say what a cool word is, like, that's a dope shirt, I immediately just feel really old, you know? Top 3 dads ever. Definitely top 3 greatest ever. All right, guys, NASDAQ still over 25 ones now. Let's see if it holds. I almost want to buy this on the NASDAQ. It's a little extended short term, though. Is that the new word drippy? I thought that was like, I don't know. I don't even know what cool is. I've accepted it. I'm not cool anymore, you know? Like, you got some people my age, and I'm friends with them, and that's fine. And they're really trying to be cool right now. Like, they're wearing all the trendy stuff. And at this point in time, I'm like, look, I'm not cool anymore. And I respect that. I don't want to be cool anymore, to be honest. I don't want to be still trying to be, like, super trendy and cool at, like, 40. You know, I'm not 40, but I don't know. I think after you hit a certain age, you gotta just accept you're not cool anymore. Not chase it. Yeah, 6'7", bro. I got an 11-year-old son. It never stops. Watch. Hey, Jack. 6. Yeah, you knew. All right, bro. Hey, I love you, man. Good day, dude. See? I'm telling you. Predictable. I don't even know what it means. I don't know why they keep saying it, you know? I don't know what it means. All I know is anytime I say the number 6 for any reason in my household, my son yells that over us. You know, that's all I know. Again, I'm not cool anymore, guys. I really don't know. That's right. Thank you, Farmer. I appreciate it. Thank you. Market's green today because people are optimistic about Bassett and the China vice premier speaking this week, easing some of the U.S.-China relations. Also, Bitcoin has bounced back to 110s. So Bitcoin is kind of bouncing back, causing some optimism in markets in general, I would say. We got tech earnings this week. I think people are optimistic tech earnings are here. You know what I mean? Like tech earnings and all that stuff going on. People are optimistic that maybe we'll get some rises in markets from tech. Netflix this week, Tesla this week specifically. So I'm not saying she's telling you that Lee to make you feel better. And if she's 40, she might not know what cool is, you know? Yeah, I think that's over it though, Jesse. I think the whole skibbity, you know, Riz thing is kind of passing now. AppLovin has been named a short at Fuzzy Panda short firm. NASDAQ still over 25 ones here. Gold still elevated. Silver still elevated. Bitcoin still elevated on the day. All that's good. Yeah, aura is the cool new word. NASDAQ still rising here, guys. I should have bought it. I was thinking about buying it. I just didn't yet. Bitcoin made it back over the 108 level. Yeah. Yeah, get off my lawn. That's how I feel. Yeah. Look at NASDAQ. I should have bought the dip, man. I was thinking about it. There's a reason the market's doing this. White House economic advisor Hassett says, I think shutdown likely to end sometime this week, according to CNBC. Again, Hassett says the shutdown is likely to end this week, according to CNBC. Listen, I'm not the most agreeable person with any politician, especially Hassett necessarily, but I hope he's right. Please be right, Hassett. Let the government shutdown end. Bring back the data. We all need it. Everybody wants it. Just bring it back. I hope Hassett's right. Let him be right. I'm going to put it out into the world. The government shutdown is going to end this week. I'm sorry to whoever bet on the shutdown ending in December. I hope you're wrong for selfish reasons. Not that I really care about any of this stuff government-wise. I just want the economic data to come out, you know? I think it's better that the economic data comes out. Hey. Yeah, you want to come say hey to the stream? Look, it's Carol, everybody. My whole family, Maddie, came on stream, too. Give everybody her shirt. There's Carol. NASDAQ's running up here. It's at 25,121s here. Yeah. All right, babe. Thank you. Thank you for, you know. Okay, I got you. All right. Do I have to answer? Yeah. Mute it? Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. Love you too. All right, guys. Yeah, Top Step is, listen, it's not just Top Step. It's every major platform is down right now, or it has been down this morning. The reason it's down is it roots from an AWS issue. Yeah, I hope you're wrong too. Yeah. I hope you're right, Nick. I hope it ends sometime soon. It's time. You know? I don't know. Yeah, look at the NASDAQ. Again, remember, I was like, hey, I hate it when this happens. I was like, hey, I kind of want to buy it right here. Top 3 worst missed call ever this morning. Don't you say it, Tyler. Don't even put that negativity out into the world, bro. You know? Again, is Hassan speaking right now on CNBC? Market is going to rip up hard today. It kind of already has. Gold's up. NASDAQ's up. NASDAQ's green on the day, right? Let's see. Actually, no. NASDAQ is still technically... I think it's actually technically green, but it's more green now. Yeah, the previous closing price right at 25.33 here on the NQ down here. 25.33, so... John doesn't predict he spoils. Top 3 biggest spoiler ever in the world right now. I'm pretty against spoilers. As a movie fan, I'm against spoilers. You know? My dad is like a big spoiler person. Like, I'm the type of person where I don't want to know what happens. I want to watch it and see it live. You know? My dad will research all the movies that are coming out, look up exactly what happens, all the rumors about what's happening. I'm just not really that guy. Yeah, gold, I mean, gold's elevated. I think gold's close to all-time highs. And I think there's a chance. I'm not saying it's going to happen. But I think there's a chance gold breaks all-time highs today. There's a chance. Also, guys, if you haven't already, check out Top Step. Beautiful way to learn how to day trade. Most day traders lose money. So it doesn't matter what course you take, who you follow, who your mentor is. Most day traders are going to lose. You can limit that risk through Top Step. They give you a 50K demo, 100K demo, 150K demo. If you pass the test, you get funded. Same amount, 50K, 100K, 150K, 90% split once you're funded, which is similar to funding your own account. But the risk is way less. You don't have to risk thousands of dollars per account like normally. Most day traders lose as well, so it limits your risk. And you're still learning to trade with some risk. $50 for the base one. If you fail, you're out $50 versus thousands potentially funding your own account. I'll put the link up. They are a sponsor. I'm biased. Genuinely useful for traders, though. They pay out millions, fund thousands, some of the most reliable for payouts. Understand all this stuff on screen. Can't guarantee anything. I'll put the link up and pin it to the top of the chat. And yeah, let's see what happens today. NASDAQ over 25 ones. If we get a big pullback to 25 ones and the 200 exponential rises, maybe I'll buy it. Hassan says the government shutdown likely to end this week. If the shutdown continues, the White House is going to look at stronger measures. Uh-oh. Let's see if the Kalshi odds have decreased here after Hassett said. I'm sure it went down a little bit. Yeah, so the odds are now all the way down to 37 days. Previously, this morning when I first looked at it, the odds were at 45 days of government shutdown potential predicted by markets. At this point in time, since Hassett said that, it has now decreased to 37 days. Still, 53% of people, which is actually down 18% from this morning, think that the government shutdown will last longer than 35 days, which would make it, I believe, November 4th. November 4th would be 35 days if my math is right, since October has 31 days. 34% of people think it's going to last over 40 days, but these odds are down about 18 to 20 percentage points since Hassett said that. All right, so the NASDAQ did get a pullback to 25,110. Didn't really hold down there, though, and got bought up pretty quickly. Testing highs of the day again. And again, App Loving got some news. Gold still testing highs. Silver still pushing up, testing highs. Hassett said Bessent meetings on China will clear up misunderstandings, according to CNBC. So more optimism this morning. He said U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent is going to land this plane. What? I can't tell if this is right. Financial Juice says U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent is going to land this plane on China. End quote. Expects Bessent meeting with China to clear up misunderstandings. And again, he also said if the shutdown doesn't end, the White House will have to look at stronger measures. I'm optimistic, guys. I'm optimistic. I should have stayed in that gold long position I took. It's easy in hindsight, though, but still. After the 18th? Today's the 20th, sir. Could be any day now. You're funny, John. Funny, haha. It's only on the micro. OG says, why is my top step only showing one candle? It's only on the micros, from my understanding. There's a broader AWS issue this morning affecting a lot of different things. So top step is one of the, affected by it. And, yeah, I mean, it's affecting a lot of different stuff. Yeah, hit the live button, bro. You might be 2 days behind the stream, man. Yeah. But yeah, if you go to the regular NASDAQ, you should be clear. And so I think you could still, I'm not telling you to trade it. I don't really know, but I think you could trade the micro just looking at the regular NQ chart with some work around there. It might, again, I'm not an investment professional. Bessent's not the brightest of the bunch. I don't know why everyone is getting sold off. I don't know why everybody's getting off gold train. Yeah, I mean, gold's been moving up. Again, will gold break 5,000 this year is the big question. Less than 20% increase, or what is it? We're at 4,000. It's more than 20%, but still. It's getting close. Probably right around 20% now. What's the gold increase from where it is? So going from where it's currently at 4,300s to 5K would be probably around 20%, no? 16%. Yeah, so we're less than 20% away from all-time highs from 5,000 on gold. Nasdaq pushed up again. 25 130s here. I'm gonna have to start drawing some levels at these tops though. Be honest, here's one right here. We're now over it. We got a couple levels at like what, 35s maybe. I mean I see this one at 50 right here. 50 is an obvious one. Expect to crash. All divergent signals showing a drastic pullback. Really? What do you think about Exxon, Chevron as an investment? Oil stocks are in the dumps. Oil's down. I think long-term oil's gonna be higher, of course. Now the question is, does it outperform the S&P over the next 10 years? And if not, you know. But Nasdaq still rising here. Gold still rising. Yeah, I'm mostly out of HIMs. I ended up buying Home Depot last week and it ripped up. I didn't buy it last week. I think I bought Home Depot like a week or two ago. My average price in HD is 380. It's at 392s. So we bought HD pretty close to the bottom, to be honest. If you look at Home Depot, this is where we bought it. We bought it at 380, right around here. Already liquidated over 50% of the position, I think, there, and we're green on the day total as well. SoFi doing really well, doing good. KO, we're in KO as well. Yeah, are you talking about the shutdown, Mark? Once people start talking about it hit before X date, it probably won't. Hassett says right now the numbers are great regarding the U.S. economy. Again, he said right now the numbers are great. Yeah, so one of the things people are talking about that makes a deal more likely is that there's a cutoff of SNAP and WIC benefits. But the Department of Agriculture warned states that there will be insufficient funds to pay for November SNAP benefits if the government funding lapse continues past late October. So it threatens food assistance for 42 million people. All right, Nasdaq's still running higher here. Let's watch 2550. I think 2550 is the next obvious level. All right, so I'm showing some. I'm gonna reset this. See if the micro Nasdaq charts are back. No, it's still only one candle here. Yeah, Nasdaq's pumping higher though. Look at this. Yeah, platforms are still a little buggy this morning, guys. Be careful. Nasdaq's still edging higher here. I'm gonna put a 1 minute chart up. This. 4,600 for gold by the end of this month. Maybe. I don't know. Gotta take a look at gold here. Here's Bitcoin. I might short 25,150 here. Again, Hassett says Australia is going to help diversifying away from China. So Cauchy still, the odds are dropping drastically for government shutdown news. Oh my gosh, dude, I hate. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know why that song pops up. It's a ridiculous song. Let me go back to my old playlist. Ridiculous when that song pops up. All right, let's watch 150. Yeah, so Cauchy odds for a government shutdown just decreased, though. A lot of people are saying it's going to be over by Halloween night. That's not really... Yeah, okay, so I'm showing... Look at this. The odds of a government shutdown are crashing down here. They were at a peak this morning of 44, 45 or so. They have now fallen all the way down to 26 days. 26 days would be this week. So Sunday would be 26 days of government shutdown. So odds are pricing in the shutdown ending here. Nasdaq's pushing up. Might have something to do with that. See what gold does, though. You know, I've said this once. Is gold buy the rumor, sell the news? Like, does gold push up during the shutdown and then dump after the shutdown's over? I don't know. Yeah, I don't really follow politics that much, guys. So I don't know anything about the protests going on. I really don't. Was it the 18th and that's it? Is it over? I really don't know. Yeah, so I'm looking at the odds here. Now it says 31.2 days. I thought it said 26. I saw one of them priced in at 26. Did they go back up now? Gotta be a shorter term chart I can look at this one. 6 hour. Yeah, okay. They bounced back up. They went as deep low as 26. Now they're at 31. So they basically think by the next 2 weeks. All right, guys. NASDAQ at 25,140 here. Again, Hassett said Australia is going to help diversify away from China. What's Jim Cramer talking about? Here we go. Hassett said right now the numbers are great regarding the U.S. economy. Confused. Hassett said that? I thought Hassett was dovish. He said U.S. Treasury Secretary Besson is going to land this. Is going to clear up misunderstandings with China. Meetings with them will clear up all the misunderstandings, he says. If shutdown doesn't end, the White House will have to look at stronger measures. But he did reiterate that I think the shutdown is likely to end this week. You guys agree with Hassett here? Yeah, I'm not getting political with any of this stuff. I'm pretty neutral on all of it. I really am. I'm somewhere in the middle with all this stuff. You know. Like, I'm a capitalist, don't get me wrong. I don't think most of the other forms of government lead to good things. Most of the time they lead to bad things. But on the social aspect of politics, I'm just going to kind of stray away from all that stuff. I'm not going to talk about any of it. I'm very neutral. Like, I'm a little bit in between both of them. All right, the SOFR rate at 4.18%, volume at 3.02 trillion. Johnson & Johnson, their biotech news. All right, guys, we got 22 minutes. S&P wants 7K. I think it does too. I think that's a big number for the E-mini, or for the S&P. It's close enough to it. It's about $250 away, 275, 265. All right, Nasdaq getting higher at 25.15s. Let's watch 25.150. That's what I'm watching right now. I might short it if it gets to that point too. Old 4,500 this week, maybe. It depends on what happens with earnings in tech. I think we got Netflix earnings, we got Tesla earnings this week. I think that's going to influence a lot of stuff in markets this week, specifically equities, obviously, but also everything else just based off of how influential some of these earnings are. Now, the big boys are really the week after, in my opinion. The really influential ones like Apple, Meta, Google, those are all next week, not this week. But Tesla and Netflix could influence things. We'll see what happens there. All right, still pushing higher. I gotta kind of wait at this point in time. Gold's kind of flat, silver's kind of flat, but I do see some like upward momentum and stuff, so I'm not really gonna trade away from it. I'm just gonna stop trading until we get something better. Again, odds are, wait, did they go back up to 37%, 37 days? I'm seeing the odds swing here. No, I'm showing them still at 31. Odds are currently 31.4 days for government shutdown. Yeah, 20 minutes into the open. We missed that move on the Nasdaq at 25.1. I was thinking about it. I just didn't take it. Hindsight's 20/20 though. I can't really look at with that lens on. You know, it's okay. Somebody's saying the Bitcoin whale is back. They just opened a 75 million short with 10x leverage. Again, so later today, the Senate is set to vote for the 11th time on the stopgap funding measure that would end the shutdown, which is currently on its 20th day, the third longest in history. Yeah, we kind of slowed our trading down once the market started the sideways trend. Waiting. At the very least, we got CPI data today. I'm waiting for that. Not today, I'm sorry. Friday, we got CPI data. I'm looking at 125s. I'd rather like a 125-1 pullback. I don't know if a pullback to 125 is big enough, but we could get something. Yeah, I heard the short firm talked more about app. They're down a little bit. I mean, it's not the worst ever. It's not small percentages. What is this? Yeah, I mean, they're down like 5%. AMD still pretty elevated at 238. Silver pulling back a little bit. We can take a look at gold also here. Yeah, I've seen Beyond Meat. I'm not a big fan of it. It's up a little bit today, but I mean, this thing has dropped from $6 a year ago all the way down to 64 cents, and now it's back up to 100, so, or $1, I should say. How do you guys think Tesla does for its earnings report? Good or bad? Yeah, I don't think the government shutdown ends today. I hope it does, but I don't think it will. It's the 11th vote. The last few times it's failed, of course. It failed 51-45, short of 60. So there were 9 votes short. Yeah, I just don't think it's gonna get done. I hope it does, but not optimistic. Good earnings, very bad, doesn't matter. And good for short-term price, bad. At this price, bad. Bad. Alright, guys. 14 minutes into the opening bell. There's 125s. Again, if we bounce here, you know, obviously, maybe I should have bought it. But again, we're too... yeah, I'm just not the most optimistic. We got 14 minutes here. Tesla will have great earnings. Maybe. Alright, guys, we got 13 minutes left. Yeah, so the API is disconnected here. Yeah, a lot of platforms are down right now based off of the Amazon Web Services. I'm gonna put these up until it fixes. Okay, look at silver though, right below me here. Bitcoin, gold. I'll put the NASDAQ up, but I'll do some stock day trading if we don't get the open. Do you think that the end of the shutdown will lead to a few bullish days for NASDAQ? Maybe. Gold, I don't know. I think gold might actually go down once the shutdown ends. I'm not 100% sure though, really. It's hard to tell. We're, we got earnings season here. And so it really depends on how the market reacts to earnings season, I think. Well, most platforms are down. It has to do with AWS. Chef. So it's not really any of the, it's not Top Step's fault. It's not Robinhood's fault. It's AWS is having problems this morning. It's been a pretty widespread issue. You know, the AWS posted this morning, but they're still struggling. Some people said it was a hack. I don't think it was a hack for Amazon. You can look at Amazon stock; it's down. It's down. But they said at 5 a.m. this morning, 6 a.m. They said we continue to observe recovery across most of the affected AWS services. We can confirm global services and features that rely on U.S. East have also recovered. There's another update by them, but yeah, basically AWS was having issues this morning. It took down a lot of different platforms. All right, again, Top Step back up. I think. Maybe not. Silver behaves slightly different from gold. It's not perfect. Yeah, the NASDAQ on Top Step, the whole platform is frozen for me here. Look at this. The whole platform's frozen, so. I'll day trade stocks if I need to this one. Ugh, knee hurts. Because they're both precious metals. Why do silver and gold move together? Mostly because they're both precious metals. What did you do to your knee? I tore my MCL. Bitcoin is going to make a big move. Bitcoin back up today. We're looking really optimistic. NASDAQ basically to 125.50s right now. Basically to 125.50s. About to break highs of the day. 125.5250 is the high of the day on the NASDAQ here. Look at NASDAQ right here. Right up to highs of the day, which is right about here, if you look at it. I was thinking about shorting this, but I'll wait. Yeah, Top Step is down. Yeah, I wanted to short this too. Look at this. What's going to be the most pivotal financial release in the next couple of weeks? Well, you got two major ones. 3 if you include shutdown potential resumption. Whenever the shutdown resumes, I think that's going to be a big catalyst. I also think this week's CPI on Friday, big catalyst. CPI's report on Friday, October 24th, can really move markets. We're going to stream it live. Subscribe. We cover it live at 8:30. We'll have thousands of people here tuning in. First big economic report in a while, so I'm excited for it. We'll see if it moves markets, though. And then next week's FOMC decision, mixed with big earnings next week. So I would say the FOMC decision and CPI are going to be the biggest ones, but we also have major tech earnings. We got Tesla Wednesday, IBM Wednesday. We've got Netflix tomorrow, I think. And then next week we got like Apple, Meta, and all them. I wanted to short this level. I just didn't really get a chance to. Remember, I wanted to short 25 right here. We just didn't get it. Okay. CPI looks high. Like, the expectations for CPI look high. You know, both core and headline CPI are expected over 3% year over year. Month over month, I think they're expected around 0.4%. All of that seems kind of elevated to me for CPI. Yeah, Top Step's down right now from my understanding. Again, AWS had issues. Yeah, Top Step said we had received reports that some traders are experiencing issues on Top Step X platform due to an ongoing AWS outage. They're actively investigating. Again, it's not just Top Step. A lot of places are down. A lot of platforms are down right now this morning. They've been down since early. All right, guys. 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes. Here we go. Look at the NASDAQ. I wanted to short 25. Remember, I said it a bunch. Look, here's 25. Ah, it hurts. It hurts, guys. All right, that's how it goes. The idea was correct. That's all I'm saying. My idea was correct. 4 minutes. Yeah, AWS is connected to everything, man. That's why, you know, it's AWS. Yeah, Coinbase, a lot of them. Yeah, even if CPI is bad, they're not going to have time to change their tune, I think, here. Just because, like, CPI drops what? 4 days prior to the Fed decision. I don't think they're going to change their tune in 4 days. They might, but I doubt it. So I think they're going to cut 25 regardless. It depends on what CPI shows up as, though. Oh, dude, that short would have been beautiful here at 25,000. Or at 25 ones right here. All right, guys, less than 3 minutes. Is the forecast back to Yeah, the odds of a shutdown lasting to the end of this month. 31 days. I hope they're right, man, but I don't know. All right, guys, 2 minutes. Again, we'll day trade stocks this morning. NASDAQ flushing down. Look at the NASDAQ fall here. All right, guys, 2 minutes. NASDAQ gold all dipping down a little bit after testing highs of the day earlier here. We got a minute and a half left until the opening bell. Good luck. Yeah, I'll do a poll. Are you bullish or bearish for today's opening bell? All right, there's the poll. Go live. Vote on it. We got about a minute left. We will day trade stocks too at the opening bell if we have to. Yeah, top steps down. For me, at least. Still down. Still trying to refresh. Ethiopia is in talks with China on converting dollar loans to the yuan. All right, there's the opening bell, guys. Let's see what we get. Gotta watch Nvidia, Apple today. Nvidia's up a little bit at the opening bell. Look at the NASDAQ surge here. NASDAQ pushing up 25,150s again. 25,157 at the opening bell. $25,155s. This push on the NASDAQ 176. Silver and gold dipping down heavily this morning at the open. Big bounce. Yeah, it looks like market wants 200. It's still too close to the bell. I gotta wait 5 minutes to trade anything. Nvidia ripped up at the open and now it's pulling back a little bit. I'm also looking at like Apple. Apple's flying up at 260s almost at the opening bell. All right, I bought Apple, guys. I will day trade Apple with you guys. Very small position here. Might add a little bit to it, but I need more than this, I think. Might add a little bit more on a dip. There we go. All right. Tapped highs of the day. There we go. A liquidate half up here. Small little scalp. I don't usually trade this close to the bell. We're just very green, so we can do this. All right, we're out. We made like $20 bill from Apple. We'll see what else we do. Could have probably held it, but Nvidia dipped at the open. That's the only thing I'm worried about. Is just I'm on toss right now. Here's Nvidia. Nvidia's actually flushing down here, though. Like, it doesn't mean it's not going to retrace back up and make some moves. And if I had to pick a side, I'd be bullish on the day just because we're close to all-time highs in the NASDAQ. And if Nvidia makes a resurge back up, then it becomes likely the NASDAQ breaks this high of the day up here at 200s. Top Step's back up, finally. All right, so we got a little scalp in Apple. Oh, wait, now we're not back up. Oh, we were back up. Never mind. It looked like it was back up. It's not. All right, we're going to keep trading stocks. Honestly, I might buy Nvidia right here. Oh, it's too late. I was thinking about buying it. Now we bounce. Great. I don't want to buy this now. We bounced back too much on Apple. I was thinking about buying it down here at 180, 180s. A little bit too late now. These are stocks. I'll try to buy Nvidia right here. We'll see what happens. Small. Might add a little bit more. Oh, I need to figure out the size to take. I'm not used to the size here with a lot of these. Right, there's 50 of Nvidia. Add some back here at the bottom for Nvidia. We got 100 shares of Nvidia. Let's take 125 and let that be it. There we go. Took half off, or a little bit more than half. There we go. Only got 25 left. I will cut it. Oh, y'all can't see this. My bad. Here. I will cut the rest right there, I think. A bad little scalp on Nvidia here. Could have maybe held it longer, but that's all right. Not bad. I should have maybe held it a little bit longer, but NASDAQ broke highs of the day up to 25,217s right now. NASDAQ up to over 25.2s. Should have held Nvidia, but it's okay. I think we got enough. Still pretty close. We're only 7 minutes into the day, so I don't want to go crazy with risk here. NASDAQ still churning up here. Look at this. Still showing most my top step down right now. Oh, I must have bumped the mic. What I was saying is the all-time highs on the NASDAQ are right here at 25,394. NVIDIA did make that big rebound back up, and it's dragging the NASDAQ higher. We're really not that far away from it. All right, I got it. I don't know if we've had many losing trades today. I don't think we've had many. NVIDIA rebounding. Where's gold at, despite all this stuff? Is gold coming down? Yeah. Markets are mostly green this morning, though. NVIDIA tapped that previous closing price. If you look at where the previous close is, this is the previous close right here. It's also the 200 exponential for NVIDIA. I would buy this on the NASDAQ, to be honest here, but I'm going to wait. That's a good thing I didn't buy the NASDAQ. Again, NVIDIA rejected right here, right at this previous close here. Right around the 200 exponential as well. All right, so NVIDIA rejected right at the 200 exponential. Apple's still pushing up. Maybe we'll get a bounce here on the NASDAQ. Anybody have any luck getting their top step working? I want to buy this dip though on the NASDAQ. I'll try to buy NVIDIA maybe here. All right, we're gonna add to it. Maybe get in 100 shares of NVIDIA. There we go. Take half off or take a quarter off. We'll give it a chance. Take another quarter off there. All the rest break even. I'm gonna cut it right there. It doesn't look like it wants to hold. Maybe it does, but we're gonna get out green again. Small, but green. Like we got out in time. Look at that drop on Nvidia. So testing the VWAP here. I think it wants to retest this, but under the VWAP's less optimistic for me. We got out just in time on that too. All right, guys. Nasdaq's kind of starting to chop a little bit here. Good thing I got out of that Nvidia trade, though. Oh, wait, is it working? Clicking sign in now, but it doesn't look like it's signing me in. Yeah, I mean, listen, Top Step's great. They're pretty reliable. If this affected your account, they're probably going to get it worked out. So I wouldn't stress about it, to be honest. Very choppy market too. I think the platform issues got a lot of people less likely to be trading. Although Nasdaq did break highs, and we're getting pretty close to all-time highs on the NQ right now. So yeah, that's what I'm showing as well. Is that network timeout when I try to log in. Yeah, Nvidia is pretty flat. It's slightly red on the day. The big move is getting driven by Apple. If you look at the bottom left chart, this is Apple. Apple almost to 260s. Green on the day since the open. The song is good until the duck comes out, and then I'm just kind of like, you know. All right, Nasdaq making another push. It's at 25,200s here, chat. Yeah, one thing Top Step's really good at is, you know, taking care of the people affected by stuff like this. This is normal. This is not just prop firms. This is everybody. Robinhood was notorious down. Webull was down. And so this is not just prop firms, this is everybody today. Again, if you want to check out Top Step, I'll put the link up. They're a sponsor of mine, of course. I'm biased. Genuinely useful for traders. And again, one thing Top Step does well is they usually fix these, you know. Anybody affected by it, they normally get them pretty right. And so, but yeah, we're day trading stocks today. It's been kind of fun. We've honestly hadn't had one losing trade in stocks, not one so far this morning. We're up really nicely today. Yeah, I'll take it. All right, guys, let's watch Nvidia. Nvidia's making a push towards the green. Previous closing price at 183.22. Yeah, AWS was down this morning. This is not even Top Step's fault, right? This is AWS is having problems. It affected a lot of different places. So, AWS, some people are saying it's a hack for Amazon Web Services. I don't know. Amazon is down on the day. Or it was. Let me see. Amazon's green on the day. But yeah. Interesting. Yeah, it's down for me too. I mean, it's just not working. All right, guys, NASDAQ's getting up there, though. The Bitcoin hash rate hits an all-time high. NASDAQ just broke highs of the day at 231.75. I don't know if it's going to hold, though. Let's see. Again, Amazon, Apple, both green. They're still struggling. They're still all trying here, but man. Market's a mess this morning. Yeah, a bunch of places use AWS. NVIDIA rejecting right there at that level. Here, look at this. Still struggling. NASDAQ still testing highs of the day, though. Look at the NASDAQ here. Honestly, despite all the craziness going on, we're very green today. Very green. You know, I'm going to take a... Like, I'm in a bunch of different stocks. So I'm going to take a little bit off of some of these swing trades that I'm in. Just a little bit. Just to protect it. Yeah, that's the rumor. I don't know. I'm going to get out of here a little bit early. I got a friend in town that I'm hanging out with, so I'm going to get out of here a little bit early, guys. So listen. Check out Top Step. They usually do a great job of making it right when stuff like this happens, even though this isn't really their fault. This is AWS, but check them out. Great way to learn how to day trade. Most day traders lose money. And they're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased. Again, understand all this stuff on screen. As soon as we close this stream down, it's immediately going to bring you to tomorrow's stream. And again, we will be covering it. It's CPI inflation week, big earnings week, a lot of stuff going on this week. We got Tesla earnings, Netflix earnings, CPI data on Friday, and more. So we got a lot of stuff going on. We'll see what that looks like. Y'all be good, be safe, be smart in today's market. It's a little weird. Yeah, y'all just be careful. I'm gonna get out of here. Y'all be safe. Have a great day. Again, I'll see you guys tomorrow bright and early. Later, chat.